automate cloud security. You already have a process in place when a new system or new environment comes on into your environment, how you bring that into your environment, how you put out your general security onto that system. There's really no reason why that wouldn't apply to the cloud. You extend your identity management system into the cloud. And by doing that, it allows you to do things such as continuous monitoring. Because you do have to have an idea of who's on these systems, who's managing the system. If you don't know that, you know, if everyone's logging in as the same person, you're never going to get to a continuous monitoring or any sort of normalized data about who's making changes or modifying these systems. And obviously, the end result of this is visibility to monitor and audit user activity by providing these out. So how does this actually look? This is sort of our view of the world from a customer perspective, where we push some environments out into the cloud, in Terramark and Savis, where you have an internal cloud, and perhaps you bifurcated your environment, and you've taken, you know, typically in a large development project, you might have as many as 6 different environments between test, QA, dev, production. Maybe I hold production internally, but I take the rest of my environments and push those out into the cloud for cost reasons. But I don't want to push those out into the cloud and give it my entire security posture in that process. So I want to maintain all those controls. So a little bit about, you know, the join process and bringing this communication in. There is something already today in Active Directory called domain server isolation. And what that does is it allows you to have the systems in the cloud mutually authenticate back to your Active Directory. So each cloud system becomes its own firewall. And each that system must mutually authenticate via PKI before it will communicate internally. From anybody else in the cloud, those systems are completely invisible. It's there today, it's part of your environment, and it's free. And in fact, we know that this is used in the government because the government agency had us develop this technology for non-Microsoft platforms. A little bit about role-based access controls. Most organizations have not done the identity for your users, but they've already developed roles inside of Active Directory to develop delegation models. Extend that out into the cloud. Do not have people log in as root. Have them log in as who they are. Do something to elevate their privileges. Allow them to do their job and nothing else. Just back to this whole idea of peer-to-peer security networking. Okay. I pulled this off in my mind. You know, to basically bring something between the hypervisor firewall and what's on your system. Something just beyond the label to have the system mutually authenticated. And then the whole idea behind visibility monitoring. And going back to what Peter was saying about continuous monitoring, we as a company push all of our information up into Active Directory. And then we've built modules for applications such as Splunk and for ArcSight. And so that takes this raw data and puts it out into some other format for these systems to use. But it's expensive from our standpoint to do these things, because there is no vendor-wide data abstraction layer to push this data up. And so the best thing that we can do for our end customers is we don't want to be that console, that final console, because you already have that. We don't want to be that alerting and monitoring system. You already have that. So we want to push this data up in a way, but it has to be useful. So until there's something abstraction layer in the middle, we have to go out, and for each one of our customers that demands that we build some module, we will have to go out and build that module for them. So maybe the next one's going to be the RSA XM product too. And we'll build a module for that to take that extremely raw data and put it into something more useful. And the Q&A. Yeah. Try to be very brief. Any questions?
Okay. Yes, nail us. What did we say that was wrong? In the back.
Peter, could you put that slide up that you had before the layers, the continuing monitoring layers? I had to step out for a call and I missed it.
Let's see.
It explains what FE expands on.
It explains, when you say layers, I'm thinking that one?
Up one. Let's see.
The DoD one?
No.
Describe it to me.
It talks about, after the definition of continuous monitoring, then it talked about what FE specifically, what the FE part.
Oh, it's a framework extension.
Okay. And it expanded something that I didn't.
And for some reason, the Defense Department and intelligence community, somehow or other they got in their head that Caesars didn't apply to them. Maybe because it was derived from the civilian government implementations. However, DHS, through the federal CIO and OMB, actually do have authority over the Defense Department in certain areas.
I can't see
That's
it.
my understanding. So, I'll expand it.
It's not a DOD slide, it's an eye chart.
Right. So the answer is that as we progress this, we're likely to finalize this publication and then create a new name and and present the whole concept from scratch. As opposed to taking the Caesars and presenting how we're going to modify to make it better, we'll do that. But then we'll go, for the final specifications, we'll probably give it a completely new name so that there's no doubt that DHS, NSA, and NIST collectively designed a solution for the entire government, including the intelligence community. And that's really what the message we want to get across. Is this ambitious? Yes, I'm seeing a startled face here in the front. Can we succeed? I love challenges. I hate to lose. So we're going to give it our best shot. And we have a track record for making waves, so we'll see what happens. It'll be fun.
So you're saying basically DOD said it's too small for them, so they can expand it.
Well, the original Caesars was actually from IRS, Treasury, and State, I believe, and sort of an abstraction of their implementations. Now, to be honest, we all use the same data. We're all using the same security tools, and yeah, I know you classified people think you're special, and maybe you are, but certainly on the unclassified side, we're pretty much all the same, and don't argue with me.
You got to make it required. You got to give it a compartmented clearance and have it cost $1 billion.
Now, one area where we are different is we are very conscious that we don't want to specify a single solution for everybody. What we need is a single model where everybody can derive an architecture that meets their specific needs. So we are very aware of that. Other questions? Yes?
When you talk about continuous monitoring, what's the criteria? Are you monitoring against a predetermined, specified series of controls, or are you actually monitoring whether or not somebody is actually in your system, is actually doing bad things?
Yeah, there's two answers to that question. One answer, and to make sure I tell you both, one answer is that we are supporting DHS for their blanket purchase agreement for continuous monitoring, and that means we are supporting Cyberscope. NIST wrote the XML schema for Cyberscope. It was quick, it was dirty, we did not intend for it to be the final solution, nor does DHS. The plan is to move from the Cyberscope XML laser to the asset reporting format, ARF, ARF. That was actually developed at the NSA, it was refined, prototypes, used in production. It went to NIST, it was refactored, and is now published and is final or is almost final. So Cyberscope's going to move to this ARF specification for the actual reporting feeds. Well, guess what this is all based on? This is all ARF based under the hood. So it aligns perfectly. The ICMC asked that our main focus be asset management, configuration management, and vulnerability management. So imagine using this to collect that data, quantitative data, and it being aggregated up and eventually reported